Welcome to The Joy Perspective, the podcast where I share life's challenges, things I've learned through years of personal development, and help others shift their perspective and find their joy. I'm Lauren Valdez, and together we'll dive into how changing the way we think can unlock possibilities, spark creativity, and transform the everyday. Let's dive in. This week on The Joy Perspective, I want to talk to you about something that I think many of us have maybe heard in our lifetime, but maybe we don't always cement it in there. And that is the I have to versus I get to. And the way that we talk to ourselves and the self-talk that we say, whether it be out loud or even in our heads, of I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to this, it really does create a sense of obligation or burden around the things that we're saying. And whether or not we realize that consciously, we are subconsciously making those things into slight burdens. I don't want to say burdens completely, but that statement, I have to, does imply a burden context to it, at least in our heads. Okay. Now think about some of these statements that we say throughout our day. I have to go to work. I have to take the kids to their soccer. I have to call back that one friend. Now, all of those statements, none of them sound like I'm like, oh gosh, I hate my job. I don't want to go to work. Or, oh gosh, I hate taking my kids to soccer. I don't want to do it. But what it does in our heads, it's creating this obligation or this chore context to it. So today on The Joy Perspective, I want to talk to you about how crucial it is to say, I get to, and also how to do it. Because I will tell you, I have paid thousands in coaching, probably thousands in therapy too. And I know these statements make a difference. I get to versus I have to. And yet I still don't do it all the time. I know. I haven't mastered it. I never said I was going to be perfect at anything. I just want to share with you guys the things that I have learned over the years, whether it be through the personal development books that I read, the coaching that I've done, my experiences, whatever it is, I want to bring it to you. So let's dive into this. I get to is a privilege. It suggests that there is this opportunity or this gratitude attached to it. So when I say I get to go to work, it doesn't sound like I'm like begrudgingly doing it. Now, I love my job. I really do. I love the people that I work with. I love the students that I serve. I love the leadership skills that I get to develop in my job, but B, also use in my job. So sometimes I'm like, oh, I have to get up and get on that meeting. And I'm trying to catch myself. So one of my first tips for you when you're doing this is give yourself grace when you don't do it, but also try to catch yourself in it. So be self-aware and give yourself grace. So what I mean by that is when you do say, I have to this, and maybe even find someone. Like for me, my husband, he knows I am trying to start to reframe things as I get to do these. And so if he hears me say, I have to, I hope that he'll go, hey, you get to do those, right? And so my job, I love it. It's awesome. The mornings that I feel like I'm like, I have to go do this or I have to that, I will do two things. I will pause for a second and I will go, no, I get to. And I start to even list the things that I'm grateful for when it comes to my job. Who is it that I'm grateful I get to see that day on meetings? Or who is it that I, get to call and connect with? What leadership skills do I get to use today in my role? Because all of those things are privileges. Now, I'm not speaking from experience on this personally, because I have been very blessed since I started working to always have a job or to have another one lined up before my previous one ends. So I do know that people around me who have struggled to find a job or struggled to find a new position so that they can leave their previous one that they weren't happy at, right? So for a moment, when you think of your job, and this can be applied everywhere, and I have a couple scenarios I'll kind of go through with you, but in your job, think for a moment about what your situation would be like if you didn't have that job, if you didn't have that opportunity. And that kind of has helped me to really be so grateful and feel the privilege of having the job that I have, um, more so than I did before I started to take the time to correct some of the statements that I was saying. So I get to reframe your responsibility as privilege, and it starts to tap into gratitude. And when we are grateful for something, we actually increase our motivation to do well in that area. Now, if you are at a crummy job, please, I'm not saying stay at your crummy job and every day go, I get to this, I get to that. But even if you're at a crummy job, you still can get to go to work, because there are people who don't get to go to work. There are people who have been let go, or there are people who, thought they were moving to something different and that fell through and now they're out of a job, right? There are people who are in situations that they don't get to go to work. Okay, enough about work. Let's talk about our kiddos. I have two kiddos doing dance and soccer. And so when I say I have to take them to soccer or I have to take her to dance, I do sometimes say this. I do. But I always try to stop for a moment. And again, I go through those situations where it's like my kiddos get to participate in these things because A, I was able to afford it. B, we have the time and the luxury to be able to take them to those things. And C, I get to take them. Now, there was a time where I was in-person teaching and I didn't get to do all the things with my kids that I wanted to. And my mama heart hurt bad when I was in those situations. I wanted to be with my kids. And so, God blessed me with this incredible job that I have. And now I get to take my daughter to her dance, and I get to take both kiddos to their soccer, and I get to even coach, sort of. My husband's the head coach. I'm the assistant coach. So I do some coaching, but for my daughter at least. Anyways, the point is that I get to take them to these things. And when I'm life gets busy, like you guys, I get it. Life gets busy. We need to, whatever it is, cook dinner or grocery shop or take care of other things. Or, for me, maybe it's a late work night day and it's like, oh, I need to go take her to this. I need to go to this. And I have to again, pause and reframe it and go, no, I get to take her to these. It also, your language changes your emotional state. And I am not a psychologist. So please, by all means, don't take me as a psychologist. But think about your language on not just that I have to versus that I get to, but the language that we speak. There's energy in those words. There's positivity in our words. There's also negativity in our words. So changing our phrasing from I have to I get to is one small thing that we get to control and we get to practice. It's like a skill or a habit that you can develop to start to shift your energy and start to shift your positivity to I get to. It's a tool for mindfulness too. Think about that. The mindfulness that it brings for me, just having to pause and go, wait, I get to do this. It brings an awareness, especially you guys, I wish I could just list you one day, just all of the tasks and things that pop up in my head. And if you've got a brain like mine, where it's going a million miles per hour almost constantly, to be able to slow myself down and to take that mindfulness minute to just appreciate whatever it is that I'm feeling kind of about has brought a change and a shift in my life. And that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I've heard you have to say, I get to this and I get to that instead of I have to. And I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing it until I really started to realize I'm going to go back to the word energy, the energy shift that it was bringing when I started doing it. And then it made me want to keep doing it. And it makes me want to keep doing it even more. And am I great at it? No, by all means, I'm not great at it. But when I do it, I feel the difference. Okay, here's another one. I have to go work out. I have to go exercise. You guys, it's funny because I was an athlete in high school. I was a coach. I guess I'm still sort of a coach for my daughter's team. So I understand the benefits of being active. I understand how good it feels for my body. My husband and I have tried 75 hard, and it was incredible. I was so active. It was awesome. But still, I fight this. I have to go work out. And some days, you guys, my workout is a walk. A walk, simply a walk. So some of the shifts in the thinking when I go from I have to work out to I get to work out or get to go exercise. And again, I try to pause and not just change my verbiage, but change my mindset about it too. Because it's not just the verbiage that helps, but it's the mindset behind it that helps. So I try to think, I get to go work out, and I do have a body that is active. I do have the ability, whether it's a walk or a run or lifting weights or whatever it is, my body is still healthy to be able to do those exercises. So what a blessing. What a blessing that some people don't have and don't get. So I'm working on that. That's probably one I'm really working on, is I get to go work out. Still working on that one. I get to take care of my kids. I get to pick them up from school. I get to get up every morning and take them to school. Now, when I was in person teaching, my husband used to have to take them to daycare or to preschool because I would get to school early and I would do tutoring for the students before school or whatever it was. So I didn't get to do those things. So I have such an appreciation for the involvement I'm able to have with my kids. And whether that's as involved as you want it to be or not, still take the moment to show that gratitude and that appreciation when you do get to do those things. Now, let's talk just for a moment about leadership and how the impact of I have to versus I get to will actually turn into your team morale. Now, you as a leader, and I'm just going to say this, unpopular belief, everyone is a leader. Whether you are a leader in your workspace because you have a leadership role, or just a leader in the fact that your behaviors do impact those around you, whether or not you have a team or not. You're also a leader in your household. My son, right? I tell him all the time, you are a leader. You get to set the example for people. And it's not just the people that are younger than you, but everyone is a leader. And so in this leader responsibility that we have, we also get to build team morale. We get to build the environment that either energizes those around us, supports those around us, or we do the opposite. We bring down the energy. We turn things into obligations And you guys, I'm not saying this because I have this perfected. I know as a leader, this is something I have done before where I'm like, look, we just have to do it. This is what we're going to do. This is what we need to do. Probably not the best leadership skills in those moments. However, it's good for them to see you as people and human, right? But as a leader, I know that the way that I present things and the way that I feel about things does rub off on others. So that's one shift or one thing I try to think about too, is when I'm presenting something, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I will say, hey, we have to send these out to our parents today. We have to this. But I will also present it in a way that we get to educate the parents by sending this to them. We get to, whatever it is, we get to partner with the parents and have them help us support their students by educating them. I didn't say that as eloquently as I probably could, but that's okay. Never said this was going to be perfect. So think about that in your workplace or in your home or wherever it is. And also whoever it is you're leading, think about that person going into work. I get to lead this team of teachers, or I get to lead sometimes, in my homeschool role, I get to lead this parent to build the confidence to be able to educate her child to the best of her ability. I think that's one of the coolest things about my job. I get to help parents educate their children. And so I get to educate the parents on how to educate their kids, if that makes sense. I get to do that. So for a moment, think about something in your job or something in your role, whether it's being a parent, going to a job, whatever it is. What is something that you get to do that you often take for granted in the busy times of life? It's funny because I feel like this has kind of turned into a soapbox on gratitude. And that really isn't what it was meant to be. But the I get to versus the I have to, it naturally lends itself to living a life that's grateful. Doing the mundane tasks that we have to do every day with a sense of gratitude. And I'm just going to give you guys the option here. Do you want to keep doing, and I'm speaking to myself for the record, do you want to keep doing life the same mundane, I say it all the time, same thing, different day? Or do you want to start living every day grateful and energized and excited to do the things that you do? Right? Even okay, let's just say, my sweet children, I love them so dearly. One day when you're listening to this, kiddos, just know that I love you guys. But when they're like, Mom, can you make me a turkey sandwich? Mom, can you whatever? And in my head, I'm like, even those tasks, I'm going to stop and pause. And I've kind of been doing this sometimes where I'm like, no, I get to do this. My daughter got out of bed probably for the 18th million time. Okay, sorry. She gets out of bed a lot at night. But I have really caught myself just taking a breath and going, I get to tuck her back into bed. I get to walk back up the stairs and hear whatever silly excuse she has because she just wants to see her mama again, or she just wants to annoy her brother. No. It really is energizing, and it really makes things more mission driven. I'm not just begrudgingly taking her back to bed, but I'm on a mission to tuck that sweet little girl back in for the 18th time. To hear her silly little voice talk about, I don't know. I should make a list of all the silly excuses she comes up with. And I just want to wrap this up with two things. Your daily language, this is just like the tip of the iceberg, if you will. Just the start of this conversation of your daily self-talk. it makes an impact on your life. And Mel Robbins, if you have not listened to her or read her High Five Habits, High Five Habit, should look on my bookshelf, see which one it is. As it's on my book, she talks about that self-talk. She talks about the person staring back at her in the mirror. Our self-talk is so crucial and so important. And that's why I'm talking about this I have to versus this I get to, because a small language shift like that can really change things. And again, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just a starting point. And the last thing is, I'm not talking about toxic positivity and pretending everything is all honky dory. Is that even the right phrase? I don't know. Because I acknowledge there is struggle. I do. I acknowledge that there are things out of our control that pop up. And no matter how grateful or energized or mission driven we're trying to be, there are things that pop up that are hard. I acknowledge that. And I'm not saying be blind to those things. But I am saying choose appreciation as often as you possibly can. Don't deny the reality of struggles. But when you can, choose gratitude. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to The Joy Perspective. I get to go spend some time with my husband now. So have a wonderful, wonderful time and change your language from I have to I get to. Thank you for joining me today on The Joy Perspective. I hope this episode helped you shift your mindset and find a little bit more joy in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss one. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Lauren Valdez for more inspiration and updates. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Until next time, keep shifting your perspective and finding your joy.